Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another video. So tonight's video is just another Q&A, a little sit down chit chat. When I very first started YouTube, I used to do a What's Up Wednesday, and then we had a Monday night meetup and a Tuesday talk, and my schedule just kind of got busy. So, these were some of my favorite videos to film, just you getting to know me. So if you're new around here, hey you guys, how y'all doing? My name's Shakima. I'm a single mom, 4 children, 1 fur dog, 1 fur grand dog. I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and we're living our best life. So I'm very thankful that you came to hang out with us for a little while. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the little bell. That way you never miss an upload from us. We try to upload about once a day around here. So the other day I did a Q&A, and that Q&A got a lot of good responses, a lot of good comments. So I thought, hey, let's film another one. Sometimes these videos are only, you can only do so many or so long because they tend to get really long. So I thought, hey, I'll jump in here and do a chat video, see how it goes. So I wrote down some questions. Well, I wrote down all the questions here. So if I'm looking down, I'm just referring to my question list. So I will answer a question that came off of my community tab on YouTube while it's fresh in my mind. The question was, how did I feel not growing up with a dad? And did my father pay child support to my mom? And, how was my life not having my dad in my life? So I'll be very honest with you. The norm, or how people react to single moms, is they are prone to being angry with the dads. And my family was that way. My grandparents were very angry with my father because my parents were 16 when they got pregnant with me. 17 when I was born. I was born premature. I don't know if I was on time or early or what, because my mom never told anybody she was pregnant. She hid the pregnancy until the day she started having labor pains. And then they found out, ta-da, here comes this little baby. So 4 pounds, 7 ounces. And I don't know of any 16, 17-year-old who really is fully equipped to deal with that. I know we have to take care of our responsibilities. And my dad should have done that, but he didn't. No, he didn't pay child support. But I will share this piece of it because I'm dealing with another lady who calls me or contacts me from time to time about some issues that they're having with their child's father because they have now found themselves a single parent. And I told her the other day, I said, listen, let me share this with you. I said, my life at that time was as perfect a life as I could have ever hoped for. My dad wasn't there, but his parents stepped in. There was not anything that I didn't need, that I needed, that I didn't have. My grandparents would buy me things, and they would get me diapers. I had a diaper service for a whole year after I was born. They would come and wash my diapers. So I didn't have the disposable kind. I was the pins. And my grandparents paid for that. My grandfather on my dad's side taught me how to ride my bike. Every single weekend when I was able to start going out of the house, I was at my grandparents' house, and my uncles were there and my aunts were there. So even though my dad wasn't the main person, I had people, and I was thankful for those people. I grew up with a lot of hatred towards my father because that's what I was taught in my home. But honestly, if I look at who I am now, how can you hate people? He was doing the best he could with what he had, and I didn't want for anything. There was a small amount of time in my life when my mom was struggling to take care of me, and she sent me down south to live with her parents. It's when I came down south in the 80s. And I had everything I needed. Maybe not everything I wanted, but I had everything I needed. So, I could say, yes, I was mad with my dad, but I didn't know any different. I knew his family was there. I knew my mom's family was there. And I was surrounded by a family. So, it's one of the reasons why I try to make a difference with my kids' father, because everybody expects you to be the angry ex-wife or the mean baby mama. And that just is not how it has to be. So in the very beginning of our relationship, it was volatile. You know, we couldn't get on the same page as far as visiting and finance and all the things. So we had to take it to court, and the court told him what he needed to pay. And we decided on when he would visit. And, you know, I don't bother him about things. He doesn't bother me. I don't call his house or his phone just to be calling. It has to be a reason for that. So I never wanted that stigma of being the angry baby mama or the angry ex-wife to be something associated with me. That's not who I am, and that's not what I'm going to do. Even to the point when my ex-husband, I know this is not the question, I'm moving into another question about that stigma and stereotype about people. When my ex-husband got remarried, when I found out he was remarried, because I think he was married way before I found out, but when I finally found out, I said, fine, I'll sit down with you, we'll sit down with her, and we'll all come up with something that's workable for everybody. Because you don't just have these kids now, she has these kids now. That didn't end up working out so well. It turns out she didn't really want the kids, so it's fine. But I was not going to be that person who said, oh, she's not going to be involved with my kids. And Now, when he was dating, we had rules. We had rules. Him and I came up with rules. If you are dating, the kids are not introduced to people you're dating, because you may not be dating them in a month, a week, a day. They've had enough loss. I don't want them to have any more loss. They get connected to a person, and then you all have issues, and now the person is gone and the kids can't figure out what they did wrong. Nope. So I told him, and he told me, this was mutual for both of us. If you are engaged or moving in the direction of getting engaged to marriage, that's a perfect time to introduce the children, to get everybody comfortable with the newness of a different family, maybe a blended family, whatever. And he agreed to that. Now, I agreed to that. It was a little harder when one of us had to be the one that was in that situation, because he wanted to just jump right in with that dating situation. I was like, no, that's not what we discussed. So we're going to keep to what we discussed, you and I. But when I found out he was married, then I said, fine, let's invite her to the table. Everybody will sit down and discuss all the things. She didn't want to be involved with that. I was perfect with that. I said, fine, no problem. So I just didn't want that negative stereotype associated with me. All she does is call me for money. All she does. So I took that away. We just went to court, and the judge told him what to pay. Then we didn't have to discuss it another time. But I don't ask him for extras. I don't ask for additional monies, or the kids have something extra. Whatever he sends, and they have their tournaments and need more taekwondo stuff, all the things, I just take it out of that money, because I don't want to stress him out. Well, I'm already paying child support. What else you need? I'm just not going to do that. That's not what I'm doing. So I said all that about the kid's dad to go back into my dad. It's just that stereotype that people think you have to be angry, and you don't. I'm very thankful that at 33 years old, my dad and I came back together, mutual agreement that we were going to forget the previous 33 years that he wasn't there, and we were going to start now. And we have had 10 great years. He's a spiritual dad to me. He's an apostle. He's my bishop. He is all of those things that he wasn't back then. And I honestly think he's the dad now that he should be, specifically spiritually, that he should be now versus what he was back then. So that was that question. That was a long answer. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Is your entire household reaping the health benefits of keto as you are? I would honestly say that we all are reaping the benefits. We all eat the same way. We partake of the same foods. We all get the same amount of physical exercise. We all feel much better. We are still having a few issues with Alana. We don't think it's keto related. We definitely think that there is some kind of something in her body that's just not doing what it's supposed to do. So she's actually seeing a pediatric endocrinologist, trying to get some things together. And then she's also seeing her pediatrician with something else that we're just unsure right now what is the issues with her. But a general rule, everybody's doing well. I mean, my kids aren't as strict keto as I am. I just made a choice to be strict in my keto journey. They are allowed to have different things, but what I do recognize is when they get off the plan, it does send a jolt into their bodies, and I don't want them to be up and down and all over the place. So I try to keep them as strict as I can when we're at home, because we don't have snacks, we don't have treats, we don't have, when I did that pantry clean out when I first started keto, we put everything out that wasn't a keto friendly something for the house. So here at home, I am able to regulate what we have when we go off to places or share nights at church or that type of thing. I don't, regulate them as much. So as far as, everything outside of the things we're just trying to pinpoint with her right now, everything is great. We all feel good. We all have energy. Nobody's just dragging around the house like we used to. We can get up and go at a moment's notice and do what we're going to do. So we're excited about all the things. And yeah, we're just keeping right on the journey. Next question. Where do you get your inspiration for home decor? Okay, so this is a true story and people will not believe this. When I was married, my ex-husband would not let me decorate anything in my house. He would not let me put anything on the walls. He wouldn't let me do anything. I didn't have pictures. I didn't have anything in my house. And so when he left, here I am. I found myself in a space with empty walls, and I didn't know what went together or didn't go together. So I did what I normally do when I am unsure. I prayed about it. And I said, Lord, please help me learn how to make my house a home. And God did a supernatural work for me. He really did. He touched my mind, and I was able to put things together, and I was able to see different colors. And I was like, oh, this looks nice with that. I mean, there is no rhyme or reason to why or how. When Pinterest first came out, I knew Pinterest would get me in trouble. So I stayed away from Pinterest. I very rarely pin, or if I go on Pinterest, it is like rare. But I will go on there and pin things now. But when it first came out, I just couldn't, because I knew I would be addicted to it. And I don't want to be addicted to anything. So I stayed away from it. But now, I'll go on and look at different things. I could see something and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. But I don't know, it just comes to my mind. I want a homey feel in my home. I like pops of color. If you are familiar with the brand 31, in my head, I am a paparazzi dot. Like, that is how I see myself. I'm just like, ping, 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 I'm that bold and vibrant and brilliant person. I don't like muted colors at all. I love pops of color, bursts of color. That fits my personality. So that is seen in my home. So again, I can't say it was any specific thing other than I prayed about it and the Lord touched my mind. How long have you been cultivating your home spaces? We grew up with my grandparents, with my mom's parents. We grew up cleaning. We would be up at 5:30, 6 o'clock every single morning cleaning. Before you went to school, on Saturdays and on Sundays, you were cleaning, and we always cleaned. My grandmother had a clean home. She told us people will judge you on your kitchen and your bathroom. You had to have a clean house. When I got my own home, I worked a lot, and my ex-husband, again, would not let me do a lot of things. He enjoyed housework. It was just something he liked to do. So he would do most of the things. I still cleaned, but when he left, and we had been in such turmoil in the marriage, I wanted to have a home. And I prayed and I said, God, I want to make this a home for my children. And so it became more than just housework. It became ministry. It became, I'm doing this for my kids. In my world, this is honest. So if you're going through this, I hope this speaks to somebody. My world was so topsy-turvy with the rough marriage and the separation and the divorce and the single mom. And I don't know how I'm going to feed the kids. And I just got a job and this bill is coming. And everything in my life was like just so crazy. The only thing I had control over was my house, was the physical house. What it looked like, what it smelled like when I cleaned it, when I didn't clean. So it became the thing that helped to bring some grounding to all the crazy that was going on. And right around that time, even though I had been cleaning and knew how to clean, I started using the Fly Lady system. And because Fly Lady offered me structure, I didn't need to learn how to clean. I knew how to do that, but I needed the structure. So I put the structure in place because, again, it was the only thing in my world that wasn't falling apart. Everything, my marriage was gone. My kids were just in disarray, my older kids, and, they were having the fallout of the divorce. I just had the new baby and all, Jackson was very sick as a baby with his asthma. And so I'm running back and forward to the doctor and the hospitals and this thing and that thing. And the kids now we have to split the holidays and dad, everything was just like, oh my God. And so my house was the thing that I needed to have control over. And I'm admitting that I needed control. And so my pastors did a series. My pastor did a piece called Lord of the Earth, where he talked about the men doing the outside stuff and mowing the lawn and cutting the grass and, manicuring the lawn and all the things. And then my pastor's wife came back on the back end and she did a series called Mistress of the Domain, what we were supposed to be doing in our homes as the cultivators of home and hearth, and how we were supposed to be setting the atmosphere for our families on the inside. If the men are taking care of the outside, then this is what we're doing on the inside. And that is not to say that there are specific gender roles. If you enjoy, I have a girlfriend, her name is Gwen, and I love Gwen. We've been friends for over 23 years. Gwen loves to cut the grass and weed eat. Shakima's not weed eating. I'm not. It is not in the description of things I am going to do. So I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying that was the premise of that teaching. The men do the manly things and the women to do the womanly things. And so when my pastor's wife was teaching that to us, again, I was readying myself for marriage. I thought I would be married a year after I was divorced. I thought surely God is going to send me a husband. Well, 10 years later, I haven't even had a boyfriend yet at all. So for all of you out there that think Shakima has a hidden secret man somewhere, it is not true. It is not. I have been on one date in 10 years. I actually went out with that gentleman twice, and that was 2 summers ago, so over 2 years ago. And I knew immediately, it's not gonna work for me. So anyway, so I've been mistressing my domain for a long time. To me, it's ministry. If I had a husband and he were to come home, even if I worked a full-time job like I do now, I believe it is my role to cook his meals, to do the housework. I enjoy it. It's not work for me. I enjoy, and my kids help out. I'm not saying I do everything on my own. I think once my kids move out, if it's just me, that I would probably have a smaller space that I could maintain, because my kids have no desire to live with me forever. So if it's just me, if God doesn't bless me with a husband and another, a family to take care of, then I would really downsize so that I could manage the spaces with it just being me, because now, the kids do help. And so that is helpful. But I am teaching and training them to manage their homes when they get their own homes. All of them have had the same training. The older two know how to do it. The younger two know how to do it. If they don't do it, that's their choice, but they know how. So a long time. What is my favorite space in my home and why? That's another question. I would probably have to say, when I first moved into this house, my prayer chair was my absolute favorite place to be, because I just like sitting there and spending time with the Lord. Still being in my bedroom is very relaxing to me. It's a place where I can get alone with the Lord. It's a place where I can cry. It's a place where I have a mom space, and the kids, they know they have to be invited into my bedroom. Here's the thing. There's a quick tip if anybody is interested, because I know I'm single, but I loved being married. I'm not divorced because I didn't love being married. I'm divorced because the person I was married to didn't want to stay married to me. My bedroom is my sanctuary. This is where I find my peace. This is where, if I did have a husband, it would be our sanctuary. So it's not just open or free for all for my children. Now they can be invited into mom's room, but I have always had a rule that the kids were not allowed on the bed, because this would be our space, my husband and I, where we had our times together, our, pillow talk or, intimacy, whatever it was that they are separate from my marriage when I was married, because this was for the big kids too. So I always wanted to have a seating area in the room so that the kids could sit. So now in this space, we have the Queen Anne's chair, the couches in here. I have the prayer chair. There are plenty of spaces for them to sit. Now, the kids do get on the bed. They will get on the bed now, but I'm not married. So it's not one of those things that I worry about, but they already know, and they have been taught since they were little, that they have to ask if they can get on the bed. They still will ask. Shamika doesn't ask, but whatever. But again, you have to create a sanctuary for yourself and your spouse that is separate from your children. You're not excluding them. They still are a part of your family. Like I said, I made a seating place in here for my kids. They can climb up on the chair, grab their blankets. We got the TV here. Mom is over here, and we all can sit and chill and eat and talk and do all the things. But this is my place that I like to keep sacred for me. Now, the place that gets the most action in this house is my kitchen. And I would love to have lots of people come over and sit in my kitchen while I cook and we chat. And I'd be serving up little hors d'oeuvres and little, hot beverages or cocoa or hot cider or whatever, coffee. I love to get down in my kitchen. I wished I had a where my cooking element was in the center of my home, where I had that center island, and then I could look over at people and talk. I hate the fact that my stove is facing the wall, so I always feel like I'm facing away from people when I'm cooking. But I love to have people in my home. I love to have people just sit and chill, and I have the bar stools on the other side. So whenever we have people over to the house, the kitchen is where everything is happening and where people are finding their comfort. And we eat and we have a hot coffee or whatever, and we just chat, and I'm just cooking away. So that is the place that gets the most action in this house. But my favorite is definitely mom's bedroom. When do you put up your Christmas tree? Traditionally for us, we put it up the day after Thanksgiving. Of course, in YouTube land, people have had their trees up since October. Shakima does not have her tree up. I do have the space ready now. We have started pre-filming some of our Vlogmas videos just so I can have a video every day. So we have done our cleaning for the tree. I just cannot make myself put the tree up yet. I'm going to think about it. I might get it up before Thanksgiving, but traditionally we put our Christmas tree up the day after Thanksgiving, and the kids write out their Christmas list the day after Thanksgiving. Do you and your family have any unique Christmas traditions? So this is different, and we actually just started this about 10 years ago. So right at the point where we were getting separated and divorced. A lot of stuff happened after the separation and divorce because we didn't do a lot of things before then. I wanted to create traditions with my children, whether, whatever my situation was. I wanted to give them a normal life. So because we were divorced, Christmas is my holiday. That is the only holiday that I want out of the year where I will not argue and fight with you over where the kids are going to be. They are going to be at their house on Christmas. And here's why. When my kids were smaller, when Shamika and Trandon were smaller, before we had the little kids, we would have to get the kids up. We would pack 1 or 2 toys in our car, and we would travel to my in-laws where there were other cousins and family members. The other cousins and family members would have a zillion presents under the tree. My kids would get 1 or 2 things plus the 1 or 2 things that we bought from home, and we were always on the road. After a certain amount of years, I said, we are not doing this anymore. My kids are not going to somebody else's house to watch them open up a zillion presents while all their stuff is at their house, and we can't even get there to 2 or 3 days after the holiday. So I said, no, we're not. So when we got separated, It was in September. And of course, Christmas was coming in December. So he knows Christmas is my holiday. Traditionally, Thanksgiving is his holiday. His family does a big Thanksgiving thing. My family does not. So he did their Thanksgiving thing. The kids went with him, no problem. Then he called me for Christmas. And he said, I know it's your turn, but do you mind if I come by for the kids? Being the nice person that I am, I said, the kids are going to have Christmas at their house. So if you can come at noon, the kids can go with you after noon because we get up pretty early. So what we started doing, instead of having Christmas dinner, I moved it to a Christmas breakfast, and I go all out for the spread. Pancakes, grits, eggs, sausage, toast, butter, jams, jellies, the hot chocolate, apple cider, anything my kids, sausage and anything the kids want for Christmas breakfast, they can have. Brown sugar, bacon, and then we all get in the kitchen and cook together. Now, I get up usually about 4 a.m. and start getting, I do crock pot grits, and I'll get that started in the crock pot, and I'll do a lot of the things. But once the kids get up, they all have to help with the breakfast. We open up our presents first, and then we'll jump in the kitchen. Now, we have traditionally invited over anybody that didn't have a family to be with on Christmas, or they didn't have a place to go on Christmas. And the reason we do Christmas breakfast is because if people do have somewhere to go later on, we don't want to interfere with those plans. And mom already knows that I'm going to be here generally by myself in the afternoon. So I want all my kids, and they don't have to come home any other holiday, but they all better come to this address on Christmas Day. I don't want to hear no questions. I don't want to hear, but mom, what had happened was, don't even play games with my life. And so even my older kids know that, and they all just pile in for Christmas. They'll come for a day or two, and then they all go home and do their thing. But they are very good about it. So we do the Christmas breakfast, and we do the big spread orange juice, mimosas. We do it all. We lay it all out. And we do try to have people come in if we can, if we know folks don't have somewhere to be or some family to spend it with, then they are welcome in our home for Christmas breakfast. What is your favorite Christmas movie? Okay, so my favorite Christmas movie is Rocky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton and Lee Majors. I love Rocky Mountain Christmas because she takes in the orphans, and then Lee Major comes and helps her with the kids, and it's in the small town, and they live in the woods in the cabin, and I'm in love with small town living. I'm in love with the mountain people. I'm in love with just that whole, atmosphere. So that is my favorite Christmas movie. Then we like all the Home Alones. Kevin, we love all of those. So the kids, and we love to watch The Grinch, we like the real Grinch, although we do watch the cartoon Grinch movie as well. So we try to sit down and watch those around the holidays. But my favorite Christmas movie is Rocky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton and Lee Majors. Okay. What do you look forward to during the holiday season? I look forward to having time off from work. I used to do a lot of baking during the year. And of course, you can tell by me being heavier, I love to cook, but I don't have time to bake anymore. So when I am home for the holidays, that's when we do all of our treats. We do haystacks, and we do macaroons, and we do, I pull out all the things, and we make a lot of homemade treats for our church family. Those are Christmas gifts, so we can do the puppy chow, or, I just appreciate having that time to be in my kitchen and really able to put my creative juices flowing. I always plan out my Christmas breakfast, and I have time to do anything I need to do ahead of time. I always like to get all of Christmas put away before we go back to school, because I don't want to be going back to work and then having stuff to do later. And then I just enjoy time to, like I said, be at home. I am an extroverted introvert. I am introverted, honestly, but my personality is very extroverted. I'm a homebody. I'm good with being home. I like to go places, but I don't have to go anywhere. I just like being here. I love to relax in the house and sit and chill and have a cup of coffee or whatever. But that's the best thing. I mean, honestly, being able to bake and, get into my kitchen and just be creative in the kitchen. So that's what I really do like over the holiday season. What is your favorite Christmas dish? I don't have a favorite Christmas dish, but our signature Christmas dish the kids love is brown sugar bacon. We always do brown sugar bacon. We probably can never make enough brown sugar bacon because the kids love it. Now Shamika, of course, doesn't eat bacon, but we still live in our best life, eating our bacon. But since we don't do the traditional Christmas dinner, I do not cook a traditional Christmas dinner because traditionally the kids are not here. It's just mom. So I can grab a little sandwich or something, there may be some leftover breakfast or something. I'll just grab that and it works out just perfectly. But I don't really have a favorite Christmas dish. I just, whatever there is, I like it. And that's just how it goes. How are Alana and Jackson? Alana and Jack are doing real well. Jackson just got the notification today that he is being invited to the 6-hour workout to try for his 2nd degree black belt. So we are going to be training really hard over the next 4 weeks because it's 4 weeks before the 6-hour workout. And if he makes it through the workout, then he'll actually get to test doing all of his 2nd degree black belt stuff. So we just got that information tonight, and we were excited about that. As far as Alana is concerned, we still have a few health things that we're working out with her. Again, she has a doctor's appointment this month, and then if we need to, we're going back to her regular pediatrician. She just got some things that don't make sense. They're not regular growing pains, but we can't pinpoint what it is. So we're going to try to figure it out. But other than that, the kids are doing great. What made you decide to go into ministry? Okay, so here's the honest story, right? Nobody decides to go into ministry. You have to have a calling. And I don't know how many people are called, but I'll tell you this. Probably back in 2011 or 12-ish, I was sitting with my sister. We were at a Golden Corral. We were eating. And I just kept telling her, I felt like the Lord was wanting me to work with the youth, doing the youth group, having the youth over and all this other stuff. Previous to us moving where we live now, the Lord had told me, and this is the first time I probably heard him prophetically. This was in about 2006. He said, you're getting ready to lead, so be prepared for it. Get ready to lead. And then probably prior to 2006, I'd had a dream. And in the dream, I was standing on the stage. I was wearing a hot pink, it was hot pink or fuchsia, some kind of fuchsia dress. I had a microphone in my hand. I had short hair, how I traditionally wear my hair when it's relaxed, not with the curls, but it was short, cut how I usually wear it. And I had a microphone in my hand. Behind me, there were these red brocade curtains. They were behind me. And it was a huge stage because I was seeing myself from way up high. So that happened. The Lord said, you're getting ready to lead. In 2012, I told my sister, I feel like the Lord, something is happening. Then we went to a place, we used to go to a place called The Ramp in Hamilton, Alabama. And The Ramp was opening what was called the Ramp School of Ministry. If you're interested in ministry training, look that up. It's called the Ramp School of Ministry. And I knew the Lord was calling me to study. And the Lord wanted I needed to be a part of the Ramp School of Ministry. But they were very strict. You couldn't work a job. And I had small kids at the time. Jackson was about 2 years old. So it's about 8 years ago. I needed to go to that school, but I didn't have a way to not work because I wasn't getting child support at the time. So I couldn't live off child support. I had to work, and according to their program, because they have different things that you needed to be at every day, or you had certain study hours or whatever, I just couldn't get into that program. So we were at a Ramp for their Winter Fest about 2012, 2013. My sister and I had taken the group of people because right at the last minute, our pastor and his wife and another couple ended up not being able to go. They had some kind of an emergency happen. So they were like, okay, you guys, we already paid for the van. Who do you want to take them? We said, sure, we'll take them. No problem. So my sister's driving. I'm riding shotgun. Jackson's in the back. Jackson's in the, seat behind us. He got on his cowboy boots and his cowboy hat. And he said, we're going to Chattanooga. We were going to Chattanooga, Tennessee. But Jackson said, Chattanooga. So we were driving. We get there and we at the conference and they go back over to the hotel to get food. I said, well, let me sit here. I'm going to hold our spots because the way it works, if you want to get a good spot, you have to be in line on time. So I said, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hold the spots. Y'all go eat. I'm good. Out of nowhere, there's no music. There's no nothing. I am weeping and sobbing and crying. I'm laying on the floor. My sister come back. She's like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I got my head on her face and the snot and everything. I'm like, I just believe the Lord is calling me in the ministry, calling me. I don't know what to do. I don't know. You know, and since then, that has just been in me. It's just been something that I can't get away from it. I don't know how to not be doing what I'm doing. The Lord touched my pastor's heart and he invited me into the ministry program in 2014. And I think I did my trial, what would be considered a trial sermon, in December of 2013, because the ministry program was starting in January of 2014. Also in 2014, in about November, the Lord had put it on my heart to start a women's ministry, to start a online telephone women's ministry. And so right now, and it is the month of November, we have been meeting for five consecutive years on the ladies' call line. Started off with two ladies, Miss Jo and Aunt Vicky. And of course, I thought the Lord was calling me to the 20-somethings and the 30-somethings. And I'm probably one of the youngest people on the line that actually meet. God gave me the 60s and the 70-somethings. And he said, Shakima, you are to tell those ladies that they are valuable, even though they may feel like they're past their prime. You tell those ladies that they are valuable and you invest into them, pour into them. And there are times when they're like, Shakima, you need a break. I'm like, I ain't going to get no break because God told me to be here. And they're like, nope, we have said you're going to take some rest because all you do is pour into us. And so if I never preach on a pulpit again, this is the ministry that God has given me, and it is near and dear to my heart. And I pray that he would continue to grow me in that, and he would continue to allow me to speak into the lives of those ladies. And when I tell you that God is blessing the ministry, he really is. Now, we don't take up offerings. We don't, nobody tithes to me or any of that. Nobody sends me love offerings. It's none of that. It's just me on a Monday night on the phone line. Whoever shows up, and praise the Lord. We have a Holy Ghost good time. So I'm thankful for that. So I don't think it is a calling, but the Bible does tell us in Ephesians 4:11 that he gave some to be apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists. There is the fivefold ministry giftings that equip the saints to go out and do the work of the ministry. And I just happen to be called into the fivefold ministry gift. I do believe that I have, the gift of evangelist, but I also have a very pastoral heart because people are important to me. I personally care about people a lot. I'm going to tell you about Jesus and try to, lead you in salvation, but I care about people. So I think that most times I think I'm pretty pastoral. I think the Lord will decide. What is your favorite part of YouTube? My full-time job and ministry, respectively. So my favorite part of YouTube are the people. I mean, I've met some phenomenal people, just even through the chats and the comments and different ones that have reached out to me. I've received letter after letter just saying, Shakima, oh my God, you don't know how much or what you said or this thing or the other just meant something to me. I could go back and look at all the letters that I have, and I'm horrible at returning letters. I am so sorry. I can return an email like nobody's business. So if you want me to return something, email me. I can return an email, but I'm horrible at writing back letters. But again, it's the people that drive what I do on YouTube. Hey, Shakima, can you do a video on this? Absolutely. Hey, Shakima, have you dealt with this issue? Do a video. Hey, Shakima, at some point, something that I'm doing is going to touch somebody. So I can't not do the budget videos because they touch people who want to do budgets. I can't not do the cooking videos because somebody likes to cook. I can't not do the cleaning videos because that touches somebody else to clean. I can't not do the monthly teachings because somebody else is like, girl, I need that word right now. So several years ago when I first started the blog, I have a blog on Facebook. I haven't blogged in a long time. But when I first started the blog, one of my brothers in the Lord was telling me about the woman. And he said, I'm looking for a 360-degree woman. And I said, what is that? And he said, that's a woman that's so well-rounded that none of her parts are missing. And so I began, he said, he didn't say I'm looking for that woman. He said, you are that woman. And, you know, he's just my brother in the Lord. And I was like, well, what is that? I don't understand. And he said, the woman that is circular, you're not missing any parts. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm not the perfect person. I have flaws and things that, you know, bother people, get on their nerves. But still, I'm a mom and I work and I do my home and I cook and I clean and I do my money. So in my life, it's very circular. I try not to be missing any pieces because I want to be that 360-degree woman. So my blog started off, it was called the 360-degree woman, musings of one mom. So I'm the one mom with the kids and I muse on the things that just come to my mind. But I always wanted to be that circular woman. So I say that to say many people have just been drawn or attracted to me. A lot of the ladies on the call line found me on YouTube. They just, hey, we're going to come over to the call line. And I wonder sometimes, because you think those people aren't real, you're like, we're so untouchable because we're on YouTube. But that's not exactly true, because the call line is there and you can call in the call line. I've had people just call the call line because they wanted to talk to me. So I didn't want to give up my phone number. So I said, hey, call me on the call line and we can talk and chat and I can help you with whatever your issues are, whatever you have questions with. And I've done that for real. And then some of the ladies that have been on the call line with me for a year or two or more, some of us are in a different chat group and we just all chat each other all day long or a couple times a day. And, you know, some of those people have become some of my really, really good friends. So for me, it was the people, even though I enjoyed doing the videos, and it was my platform. I had asked the Lord, I said, give me a platform to tell people about what you did in my life, to tell people how you got us out of financial situation, how you helped restore me after a separation and divorce, how you helped me to get my children on a good track, how you helped me with my health journey. I needed a place where I could tell people about the goodness of Jesus, and God gave me YouTube. So that was where I started my first ministry, even though I had never done a sermon at that point yet. But this was my first platform to tell people, and it's not a platform to say how great I am. It's a platform to tell people what Jesus has done for me. So that to me was the most important. So it's the people. As far as my full-time job, I love the flexibility of my job. I love the fact that I get to go from this place to this place to this place. I remember being in an interview several years ago. I had an interview for the same type of job, not in my school that I am now. I had interviewed in a different county. And my whole thought process was, I get to work with 60 to 75 kids per semester, maybe 2 or 3, my 3 or 4 classes, 100 kids at max. I get to work with those kids. I said, but working in this position that I do now, I can touch so many more kids, and not just the kids, but their families. I actually work with all the 8th graders, all the 7th graders. We're adding 6th graders and 5th graders. Just in one school, I have 270 some 8th graders. Just in one school. So that's an astronomical amount of students that I'm working with, based outside of my 70 to 100 kids that I had just in my regular classroom. So I am able to reach more people, to help them think, to help them grow, to see the possibilities of what they can do when they get out of high school, or, moving into this community college program or that program. It's not just you have to stay right here and there are no options. I'm here to give options, and I get to give them to a whole lot of people. I wanted influence. I didn't want to just be my one little group. I wanted to be able to touch a lot of people with influence and say, hey, have you thought about this? Well, what about this? Did you take your test? Don't forget. Okay, don't forget to get your work in. Progress reports will come. I'm all up and down the hallways and I see my kids and I'm like, hey, what about this? What about that? You doing good? Okay, turn in your homework, and I see them. And honestly, we have, I say we as a society, don't see a lot of professional Black women, not a lot of us. And I wanted to be that role model to my students. And I wanted to be that role model in my profession. I wanted to be that teacher that was dressed to the nines. I remember I was in the hallway last year, before I got this job. and I was on hall duty, and one of my best work friends, his name is Jason, and Jason had been out of work for a while because he had been really, really sick, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong. So Jason had been out for a long time, and his sub came over to me, and I was dressed regularly. I wasn't wearing anything fancy that I felt fancy in. And she got to talking about me, and she said, Miss Wilson, you are that teacher. She said, she said, I was a middle school teacher, but we already knew that the high school business teachers was going to come, and they was going to come correct, and they was going to bring it. She said, whenever I see you, I think of that. She said, you're always dressed to the nines. You're always business. And that was my profession. I was a business teacher. And I just was doing what I felt like I should have done based on the profession that I was in. I wasn't trying to say, well, I'm dressing better than you, or, all those things. But that is who I wanted to be, so that my girls, my students, would be able to see positivity in a female role that didn't have anything with showing everything I had and, letting it all hang out. I wanted them to see you can be classy and still cover it all up. I wanted that for them, and I wanted to be that role model. And I had 2 girls at home. I needed to be that for my children. So again, it has translated into the things that I do. Even now, when I go into classrooms, I dress professional. I want my students to see that I'm not just here. You're not an afterthought. I thought about what I was going to wear and how I was going to present and all the things before I came. So I love the flexibility. I love being able to go from place to place. And I love the autonomy to do my job. I don't have a lot of people over me telling me what to do. I submit my plans. And then my partner and I, we work together. She's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. We're doing about the same things, maybe not at the same time. But again, she's doing hers, I'm doing mine, and it's all working out. And then ministry, again, is people. My heart is so towards people. I want people to be well. I want you to have good finances. I want you to prosper in your health. The Bible says, I would, beloved, that you would be in good health and prosper even as your soul prospers. I want your soul to prosper. I don't want you to just say, I'm saved. What's after saved? I want you to live the abundant life that God came. He said, I came that you should have life and life more abundant. He wants us to have that life more abundant here. And people hear life more abundant and they think, oh, you're talking about money. No, I'm not. Because I know what it's like to not be happy. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to cry myself to sleep for 365 days after I got separated and divorced. I cried for 365 days. I hadn't slept in a bed by myself in almost 18 years. And every night when he left, I had to sleep in the bed by myself. I know what that's like. But on the 366th day, I was standing in my kitchen, not in here where I live now, but I had a little apartment. And across from the kitchen, you could see the window, and in the window there was this bright light shining. It was the sun, of course, but I could see the hand of God, and he said, Shakima, you will not cry another day. And I didn't cry. It was the 366th day. It was a year from the day that I had gotten divorced, and I knew it was going to be okay. So I want people to know it's going to be okay. Again, like I said, I may not preach in another pulpit. I may not get called to your conference. I may not be the name person, my name in lights. I always told the Lord, I don't want my name in lights. I want your name in lights. If I have to make you famous by my testimony, I wanted people to know that they could be a single mom and it be okay. They could raise godly children. They could be financially free and not always dependent on somebody else to do something for them. I needed people to know that. And I needed people to know, listen, if you are not okay, it's still okay. And I'm here for you, whatever way. So I always think about the fact of people. Earlier this evening, I messaged someone and I said, hey, do you mind if I do something for your family? They didn't receive it, and it was totally fine. That's okay. Maybe it wasn't, maybe I didn't present it correctly, or maybe they didn't have a need. But there's somebody else who has a need out there, and I'll just try to meet it. I was driving home tonight, and this is what popped into my head. I'm a first lady. I am. And, people say, everybody just want to be a first lady. Well, there's a lot that goes into ministry. And that man that's ministering, that God has given him that ministry, there's a lot on his shoulders. He needs a helpmeet that can help him manage some of the things, especially some of the female things that he may not have a a mind into. He don't know how to think like a woman. I get it. God can help us to minister to anybody, but I do believe that I'm a helpmeet to somebody, and I do believe that I am a first lady. So I love that. I haven't met my husband at the moment. I don't even know if God wants me to be married again, but I love people. I love women. I love the things that we have to go through. I love being a woman. I love every single curve I have. I love makeup. I love heels. I love getting my hair. I love everything about being a woman. And so God has given me a love for women that I believe will go hand in hand with my husband's calling to the ministry as well. So again, that's my favorite part of ministry. I love to preach though. I love it. I love to preach. You just tell me what you want me to preach, and honey, I'm about to preach the heaven down. Praise the Lord. The last question is based on how much you cook. What kind of oven do you like, gas or electric? Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. When I grew up in New York, we had gas. And here we've always had electric. Cooks just the same. I wish I had the grill feature. I wish I had the island feature where the stove was right there in the middle of the island, so I could chit chat with people back and forth. So I don't really have a preference. I love a gourmet kitchen if I could have a gourmet kitchen, just because I love to cook so much. But as long as it works and I'm able to produce great meals for my family, doesn't matter to me. You know, whatever I have is what I have. I've learned how to, as Paul says, I've learned how to be okay when I have a whole lot and when I don't have much at all. So, you know, I've lived in a small apartment where, my kitchen was this big. I had a galley style kitchen. It was this big. And now that I live here, my kitchen it's probably about 6 or 7 times as big as it was when I was in that one little small apartment with the kids. And I'm thankful for it. You know, I'm thankful for it. So no preferences. Of course, if I could have my perfect world, I'd have a gourmet style kitchen, just because I love to cook so much. So anywho, there it is. I've been chatting for a long time. I do apologize that this is a long video, but I wanted to get through all of those questions. If you submitted some questions, thank you very much. I hope these chats are helpful just to get you to know who I am, who Shakima is. People say, you can't really be like this. You're just like this on YouTube. Well, I'm pretty much like this all the time. You could ask my kids. This is just my personality. I love people. I love helping. I love, doing what I can for whom I can, when I can. And it's just what I was meant to. It's what I was created to do. I'm going to leave a mark on this world that says Shakima helped as many people as she could. And that is my goal in life, is to help as many people as I can to do whatever God wants me to do. That was one of the topics of conversation in the ladies' meeting on Monday night. What is it that God has called you to do? Do it. Do it. Whether you do it wrong or do it right or you do it perfect, just do it. And as you go on, God will grace you to do it because he told you to. So that is so key for me. But anywho, I thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video and getting to know a little bit more about me. If you did, thumb up the video, say, hey, we liked your video. If you haven't yet and you're newly here, hit subscribe. We'd love to keep you as a part of our YouTube community. Also hit that little bell. That way you never miss an upload from us. Thank you again so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.